Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sasha Star, and we start the program Chess Saturday, IBMTV. And I have fantastic panel today. Our friends, first of all, Maria and Mihail Marin.
Hello.
How are you today? Then we have Grandmaster Suat Atalik.
What about Rico?
Oh, what a car!
Circus cat came out again.
Professor Kenneth Regan, our esteemed guest. Hello, how are you today?
Very good.
Very good. Okay, we have a lot of things happened in the last few days, actually, before our show. And when I was planning the program for the show on Tuesday, a lot of things happened, and we already published a poster, of course, and then a lot of new things happened basically in the last day or two, so I would like to pay attention to that as well. So we left our last week's discussion about chess Olympiads, and at that time it was very interesting topic, and we had some discussion about that, but right now it's a distance, and nobody I noticed that everybody prefers to forget this online chess Olympiad for whatever reasons there are. Well, we know our almost all guests' opinion about this online Olympiad, except Professor Kenneth Regan. Could you tell us your thoughts about this FIDE chess Olympiad?
About the FIDE, well, it was a great undertaking, and I did invigilate it, and so it's probably known that there were some incidents in the lower divisions, but not in the higher divisions, and deservedly so as far as I could see. It is a shame that the playoffs ended the way they did, with the interrupted matches of Armenia and then India, Russia. But I do think that the interest which the event attracted was made it very worthwhile going through. And as I said, it's important to do this kind of experiment to see if a huge international event like this, with participation of all levels of players, not just the elite players, can be brought off successfully. And I think we learned that there are some obstacles to doing that are technological and some of them human, but it was definitely worth going through the experience. And I was honored to be part of the regime of the tournament.
Yeah, okay, I agree with your opinion. You see, basically this experiment is almost forced because it wasn't possible to hold a normal life as it always been chess Olympiad. So FIDE their hands were almost forced to do this online thing for whatever it's worth, and even with all these problems with match with Armenia, and then the final match, India, Russia. And I don't know, it seems to me there was no perfect solution, even in the final match, India, Russia, to replay the games or to postpone, or I even don't know.
I can report that the internet outage affected my computer in Buffalo. So it affected my university network at the same time as the troubles were happening with India, Russia. So it was a global phenomenon.
And what would be, in your opinion, the right decision to handle this problem?
Well, I don't know. I have not thought about it. The only definite opinion that I have had is I know that Grandmaster Alexandra Kostenyuk tweeted something about, Russia having had a victory on the board, namely in her own game. But her own game was affected by a 27-second outage at a point where, Black still possibly could have defended. So I didn't think that was really appropriate. So therefore, it is reasonable for me to regard the state of the match at the time the internet outage occurred as having been indeterminate in all three games. And then that legitimizes the final decision by the terms that she said in her tweet.
But interestingly enough, although both teams got gold medals, it seems to me that everybody is unhappy about it. There is no single person who would be cheered and who would say, "Oh, so wonderful! So now we have two gold medals."
Yeah, well, I think nobody can be happy with a broken outcome like that. Okay, I mean, the point of sport is to compete. Everyone gives their best, and then you have a winner. And an outcome like this means that something went wrong. But I have not even had time to be able to delve into the political ramifications. I mean, I've noticed them. I've noticed comments with Arthur Kogan and Kevin Spraggett, but life has not allowed me to have time to delve into that. I mean,
well, if you want to have ultimate winner, you'd rather go and watch on YouTube something like a fight Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman. I think.
Right. Too. Yeah. Yes, and that might be a good idea, and that might be a very positive idea. Because when you think about unhappiness, there is nevertheless the fact that a huge number of chess fans were attracted in India. They knew about the match. Even some of my students remote in India, can't come to Buffalo, knew about the match. So, that you have to look. So for big people who have big opinions, there was unhappiness. But for little people who have little opinions, but you multiply them by several tens of thousands, then yes, there was benefit and happiness. And maybe that outweighs the other.
Mm-hmm. So maybe it's time for FIDE to have their own internet network that is absolutely impossible to penetrate by voltages, by all these technical problems, which can withstand the nuclear attack and everything else. So then it would be always a fair winner.
I have a very responsible university, and I will make an ironclad prediction that over the hour-and-a-half course of this show, I will be interrupted and disappear. We call it internet weather for a reason. It's like the weather. It's very difficult to achieve. I hope the nuclear agencies have it, but I don't think it's available to us mere mortals.
It's on Monday there is an International Peace Day, and in fact, IBMTV is participating in it and promoting that. And in Russia, it was a very popular joke about that. There were a format of Armenian radio. People are asking questions, and Armenian radio provides answers. So the question was to Armenian radio whether there will be a third world war. Armenia answer is this: no, there will be no war, but there will be such a fight for a peace that there nothing will be alive left.
Oh, okay. Well.
In Russian it's «Войны не будет, но будет такая борьба за мир, что камня на камне не останется».
Okay.
If you understand, that's fine. If not, I was trying to translate.
But Radio Yerevan, no? It's more than Armenian radio.
Yes,
Radio
yes.
Yerevan.
We had it.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Armenian radio is in Yerevan, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, it was in all these anecdotes always Radio Yerevan, not Armenian.
That's right. But the Prime Minister of Armenia, he now sent an official note to FIDE that he's furious about what's happened to Armenian team, and he demands, I don't know, to replay or apologies or $10 million. I don't know really what he wants, but that's the case now.
It's difficult in chess. I mean, in our sports, we have the institution of playing under protest. Like, if something goes wrong in a baseball game, then you continue the game, but you lodge in a protest, and then the protest can be dealt with afterwards. There was a famous case with the game with the New York Yankees where the protest was approved and the game was restarted from the inning where the protest had been filed. So I wish that the Armenian team could have done that. On the other hand, somehow it's easier to play baseball than chess when your mind is distracted by a protest situation. So I can see that side of the argument as well.
Well, very eloquently said. And may I ask you, Suat, you were following this Fisher's tournament, Fisher's chess tournament, where Gary
No, I am
Kasparov.
really allergic to whatever it's called, chess 960. I really think, first of all, there is nothing so different, and I never supported this idea of you beat up the theory. I had some discussion with Eugenio Torre when we were somewhere, I think in Kuala Lumpur or somewhere, or maybe Bangkok. He told the main idea of Fischer's chess and the main idea of Fischer to push this kind of chess is just to give to grandmasters some more time in peace. That you don't get prepared for the game and you know each other more. Maybe you play bridge, you make something positive, not this crazy preparation. Well, this may be the point. And the only time I played this chess, it was the time when Ivan Sokolov practically quit the game and he wanted to be a realtor. He went back to his city of Sarajevo. He tried to be a realtor, which was a catastrophe for buildings.
And for city of Sarajevo.
Yeah, for himself as well. But he played a lot of Fischer's chess with a friend of ours, international master Glavaš. Now he is in Croatia. Then after that time, he went back to chess and we had some European Championship. The last day, we had some drinks and he said, look, I play this Fischer's chess, would you play with me? I say, yeah, but I know all the stories that with Glavaš, you were giving odds of time, you were giving odds of moves. I never played this, so what do you give as odds? He says, I don't give you any odds, you are grandmaster. I say, well, is this a fact? Why? I mean, Glavaš also international master. He says, yeah, Glavaš, he's the former secretary of Bosnian Chess Federation. So he comes with the set, okay, we start playing some blitz. And I had I don't know, I was playing like Weisser. He plays real chess. I was always ending up with some bad bishops, with bishop a1, pawn on e2. But then this bishop would open and I mean, indeed, I could put up a fight to Ivan, and Ivan says, look, you see, I told you, I know everything about this 960, so you could play. But quickly, the positions were becoming like normal chess at some moment, and then you play, after all, normal chess. I find it, I really don't know. I just find it some sort of artificial idea to come up.
Mihail, what do you think? Did you follow that tournament?
I followed it for one main reason. Kasparov was playing. I'm not a big fan of this thing. It's not harmonious somehow. But of course, after some time, the positions turn almost normal. Okay, in Kasparov's games, almost always normal. But no, I follow Kasparov because over the past years he played several times in this blitz and rapid, but normal, not live tournament. He even played a match with Caruana 960, and each time I had the feeling that there was a difference of several classes, of level. I mean, there was some big guy playing with some kids who were just trying to learn how to play chess, and of course. He doesn't play anymore, and this tells because at some point he starts blundering. But in the normal chess tournaments, we could see that his preparation, his own preparation. He retired in 2005. So okay, how many years have passed? And still, his preparation from those years is better than what these guys are trying to do with Fritz and other things. So okay, every time I see him playing, it's this confirmation that okay, no, these guys would not beat Fischer in a simul as they think. No. We're far from this. But this time I think that Kasparov was less impressive. I mean, his result was decent, okay, but I didn't have this feeling that he was really. Something special, maybe because it was he played through the internet, and okay, that's something different.
Yeah, that could be. When he came back, I think 3 years ago in 2017, I was monitoring the tournament.
Yeah,
And I reported that he was playing well. He tired, then he tired, but in the first 2 days he played very well, fully up to his rating.
No, I mean there is a handicap of age. I mean, okay, age he's not really old. He's 57. Okay, 2 years older than me, but he didn't play chess. I mean, these guys are playing all the time. They're preparing all the time. So
he hasn't played real chess for 15 years. 15 years. It's a huge period of time, especially considering that he quit when he was 41. So essentially, he left his prime years from 41 to say to 48, maybe 49. It would be still his prime years, although the time is different now. For example, Botvinnik, he was 51 when he was playing Michael Tau, and he was still playing quite strong chess, as you remember.
And close to his 60s, I mean, to the age of 60, he beat Larsen at least twice, I believe.
Right, and remember that Smyslov was 62 when he was playing Kasparov for the right to challenge Karpov.
Yes. I think 60
in 83.
62, something like that. Yes.
Yeah. So, and he was 62, and I mean, he didn't play brilliant chess, but he played very, very sound. He was true to his style. His style was a very healthy positional style, and yet he was playing at his level. Kasparov was just way stronger player, and ultimately he defeated Karpov and became world champion just 2 years later. So you can imagine how strong Kasparov was.
But unlike Smyslov, who remained an active player all the way, Kasparov didn't play any official tournament except these few St. Louis things. So okay, for Kasparov it was a big handicap. And nowadays, okay, with all these guys knowing variations up to, I don't know, move 25, 30 or something, of course it's not easy, but he showed that his problem is not here.
Plus, he was playing a format of chess, Fischer 960, which is, I don't know if he ever played in this type of chess.
Yes, and
he played St. Louis 3 years ago. Yes, he did.
During these 20 years that he was number one by rating, okay, he was a world champion, then para-official, whatever, world champion, okay. Many people say that, okay, if you take out Kasparov's preparation, he's maybe not even in top 5. I don't think this is true, but in the match with Caruana, he showed that, okay, even with this additional handicap that he doesn't have his theory, even his old theory, I mean, okay, that he can play chess very well. Now, of course, then he starts playing better after move 30 or something, but there's another thing. So,
so have you followed this tournament, which is still going on? I think it finished today.
No, I followed only the 9, the Fischer, because Kasparov was playing there.
Yeah. Okay, this one you're not following.
Oh, yeah. I'm just seeing on Facebook all kind of simple opportunities missed by all these guys, and it just confirms my feeling that these online tournaments, the level is very weak. I mean,
well, I will just show you one of the games which I saw, and I don't know. I'm trying to share the screen. Do you see the screen now?
No.
I still see you.
No.
Because
you're not seeing the screen.
No, we're seeing you.
I was still seeing you. Yeah.
All the others.
Oh, you see now. Okay, this is a game by Nepomniachtchi White and Nakamura Black. I will not analyze anything. I will just show you the game, and you will tell me what you think about it. It was played yesterday, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, according to computer, Black now has some advantage. I mean, at least in space. However, the game continues. Am I not too fast?
We just missed the opening.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, okay. I'll just show a little bit slower from beginning.
Okay, b3. I imagine it was b3.
I remember that this position was in a game Petrosian Fischer. And
Yes.
Petrosian later complained that he should have played e3 because after f6, which Fischer played, now black has a very comfortable position because white cannot prevent e5.
But probably e4 is a move now. Probably e4 was a move, pawn sacrifice.
d4, knight h4.
Right now?
Yes. I think I'm not sure about the evaluation, but I know there were some tries with it. And actually,
yeah, I've never, I don't, of course, I don't know this position, but this is what Fischer played against Petrosian and got very comfortable position. And Petrosian later on lost that game. Well, it appears to me that black is okay here, right?
No, actually, black has a nice position. The question is, what is white doing?
No, but why? Very debatable because he's about playing knight c4, knight e5. So.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And f3 on that, right. And, just a prepared f3.
But computer still shows that black is okay here. I don't know. According to computer, okay, black has two bishops. White has a weak pawn on d4. Black has a weak pawn on c6. It's really hard to say. I think it's an equal position, probably.
I would take black because okay, the bishop on d5 is really.
Yeah, I like black. Yeah. So.
No, maybe it's close to equality. Yeah. Okay. Now if he just takes on e5, of course.
Now he starts attacking with opposite colored bishops as well.
Yeah, no. So black's position is very nice. It's one-sided already, I believe.
And here starts something interesting development. Obviously, e6 is almost a must move because if black will block this e pawn, then white is actually in danger. So. Now, okay, but here black has to be careful. I think queen e7 would provide comfortable equality, right?
But maybe even more.
Yeah.
But the pawn falls, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, and now I think this is a mistake. That's what computer shows.
Yeah,
because here white has continuation, which leads to an attack. You see now, black is in danger, has to be played very carefully.
But black completely misplayed this.
Yeah, we see now, you see, that's the problem now, the g7 pawn is kind of weak.
Well, king g6. No, rook g6. Oh, king g6.
No, king g6,
no, rook g6, rook g7, rook g7, queen e6.
Oh. Yeah.
So
and now, there is a checkmate.
Oh, you're right. Oh, it's bishop. Yes, that's checkmate. My goodness. Yes.
No, but what I was talking about. I mean, black had a position where only he can play for a win. He has no risk. And then he does something and he gets mated. I mean, this is typical for online chess. Okay, online chess is what we have nowadays, but okay, we should hope it will not last for long. I mean,
as President Trump says, it is what it is.
Yes.
That's what he said. Okay, but remember one thing: it's a game between Nepomniachtchi and Nakamura, which are they're probably top 5 grandmasters in the world. So you would assume that the opening is unimpressive, the middle game is not that great, and the end of the game is horrible. So I don't know what to say.
It's just a pity that, I don't really understand why they play so badly online. I don't know.
Why?
Well, maybe the seriosity, it is not like you are dressed and you have an opponent, you shake hands and you sit there and you start thinking on a three-dimensional chessboard, which you used to do since your childhood. Plugged and unplugged, there are some differences even in concerts.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah. Now, okay, I'll stop sharing this screen and I'll get another screen, which will be even more interesting.
By the way, we just played a few days ago. We played the Romanian team championship, which was organized. Okay, it was a relatively rapid read. It was 45 minutes plus 30 seconds increment. So it somehow felt nice, but it was so strange, this obsession with the mask. Okay, you have to sit for 2 hours in a mask. Okay, we had some special masks, more expensive, which are out of plastic and you can breathe. But almost all the other people had these, masks which are really killing. I mean, okay, I cannot imagine anything more harmful than that. And every time some player would really have no air left and he would just take his mask just below the nose, there would be a protest, a scandal, whatever. I mean, playing this tournament was nice after half a year of not playing any.
Absolutely.
But the thing, what this thing makes out of people, I mean, it's somehow, I mean, normal people, people I know for a long time, this obsession that, okay, we're wearing the mask because we are told so. I mean, okay.
But in sportive contests, if chess is a sport, and it is a sport that we know, I mean, I don't have to go back to Helmut Fleger's work on neurotransmitters. Now, a mask is really detrimental on your body during the sportive time.
Of course.
And now you play this league, it means that you are making the sport masks off. And I visit gym every day, and we got the masks on our neck. And okay, if there will be some sort of investigation, so I say, like, look, I am making a sport, I am weightlifting, and here is my mask. Like in case I switch to toilet area, that I may wear the mask, but not during the game.
No, of course. And it was 2 days, 2 games a day. This read, so it means 2 hours and 2 hours, or even more. You would have to sit there and just that was really unpleasant.
You may hurt your lungs. If you do sports in a mask for a long time, you may really hurt your lungs.
I saw some experiment that after just 1.5 minute, the concentration of carbon dioxide, or how do you say it in English, increases by 25 times in compared to the normal. Okay, it's at least 25 times because this machine which measures it has a limit. So probably it's not 25, probably it's 40 or 50. We cannot know because the machine reaches its limit. Instead of 400, instead of something like 400, it gets to 10,000. But it's just the top. So personally, when I go to the supermarket, okay, after 20 minutes, I have to go out because otherwise I just and during a game
you got this literally. You got this, especially in humid and high temperature places. When it is hot and humid outside, you may really risk your life with the mask.
I know.
Well, in Canada, the situation is very simple. There are no chess tournaments. Number one. Number two, there are no people can get together more than 10 people inside and 15 people outside. That's a limit. If you have more, then the organizer is being fined $10,000 and participants $750 each. So the situation is very simple. Although the overall situation, at least in Ontario, where I live, is not so bad. There are maybe 200, slightly over 200 cases, and only maybe 3-4 people died in the last months or so. So it's not really that bad. But the goal is eliminate coronavirus 100%. So there is a closing of the border with the United States, at least until November 21st. Only essential travel, no otherwise.
Correct, yeah.
And there is also a mandatory 2 weeks quarantine for people who are arriving, for example, from Europe or any other place. They have to go to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Also within this country. So my son could not visit us from Minnesota, for instance, for that reason.
So how does it work then?
Well, you have to isolate if you travel. You know, we have friends who travel to and from North Carolina, so when they come up here, they have to isolate for 2 weeks.
Oh,
Even with my university, when I check in, complete a daily health check because I am teaching on campus. There is a question. You know, have you traveled to a state other than New York State in the past 14 days? So,
I see. New York now is handling it quite well. I think it was horrible in April or so. But
in New York City, it's never been horrible in Western New York, although it has stayed a little bit more elevated in Western New York than in the other upstate parts of the state.
I see.
Oh, by the way, connecting these two ideas, our team championship and traveling, you know, Shirov played for one of the teams, for Baia
Again?
Yeah, no, actually the first board was not so bad.
Again, he played because he played some years ago, and now he played again. Yeah,
I think he played almost every year for maybe only once he missed, maybe.
Yeah.
And but he was coming from Spain, where he played the national champ, because now he's Spanish again. And okay, one of the teams, one of the favorites, they made a very big protest. No, he should not be allowed to play because he comes from Spain. And yeah, somehow, you know, it is even worse than this thing with the masks. I mean, come on, there are some rules. The Ministry of Sports Ministry states that it is allowed that sportsmen from abroad come to competitions to Romania. So, but there is this paranoia. They actually try to use it to disturb the opponent if he does this, to put up a scandal.
Oh, but many things, Mihai. I mean, I'm going to travel this Wednesday. I'm going to play the Serbian League. I hope it doesn't end up in the circus. But first, okay, they set up some dates. And then there were new measures, just like in Canada, 10 people in one room type of rule. Now it is increased to 30 people under some certain conditions. But then the delay of the league was due to, you know, some guys, they don't want to play. Some clubs who do not have enough money, they start using the pandemic as a pretext. And then there was some idea by some people, you know, to play without foreigners, which is an idea. But I mean, who is a foreigner? For instance, I am in Serbian flag. I play for Serbia, but I live in Istanbul. So I will travel. I don't know which country suffers more from corona. Okay, I mean, in Istanbul, you don't feel much, neither in Belgrade now. And we are traveling to Ruma, which is a suburb of Novi Sad. Well, I mean, but obviously, when somebody has a undesired result, you know, then he starts using the mask, he starts using corona, and you will be totally surprised. And he starts telling this guy comes from Spain. So what would happen if he says, no, I come from Latvia this time? You know, this is one day Latvian, the other day Spanish, just like Ivan Sokolov between Poland and Bosnia. And this is really ridiculous. If you allow the guy to play and you have your rules, you just play. There shouldn't be any protest about it. By the way, my team, for instance, has the Latvian player Meshkovs now.
Mhm.
And now maybe some teams will tell the same. Okay, you have the Latvian guy who visited Chiro. You don't know what's going to happen. It's
No,
ridiculous.
but now Shirov is back in Spain, and now he's going to play the Spanish High League.
Right.
That they will tell him like you came back from Romania.
You understand that he will be exposed.
The black sheep of the family, no matter where he jumps.
Well, we live in a brave new world. And
Yeah.
things will never be the same, or at least for a long time. And we have to adopt the best we can. And I'll tell you, a very eloquent, my friend of mine who we went together in Russia in university and studied music when we were young. He lives now in Copenhagen, and he was in opera symphony orchestra for many years. And by the way, he's a very talented artist as well. Maria, I'll show you some of his paintings one day. He's very talented. And he wrote to me just recently that he's about my age, and he said, well, look, let's put it this way. We are very lucky ones. We were born after the Second World War. We had a fantastic life, first in Soviet Union, and then we immigrated. I'm to Copenhagen, to Denmark, and to Canada, and created a new life there. And we have nothing to worry about in our age. It's our children, our grandchildren. They will have to deal with all these consequences of what's happening in the world, the coronavirus. We are very lucky ones. I had to agree with him. Okay? So hopefully it will be. I don't think it can be any worse than it already is. So from now on, it could go to better.
No, worse can be only if this situation goes on for 1 more year or 2 years or whatever. Then it can get worse because it affects people somehow.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, it's very difficult to do. A lot of people have a lot of hopes for a vaccine that will become hopefully soon. I'm not so optimistic about the vaccine. First of all, it's very difficult to predict how effective it will be, and how many people we will be able to vaccinate in a period of 6 months or a year. Even again, from a mathematical point of view, how you can really vaccinate so many people, even like in the United States, 350 million people. How can you do that?
It's going to be difficult. I mean, it's going to be a distribution problem. Of course, we don't even know what stage the vaccine will be at the moment. But with vaccination, depending on the disease and the organism, you want to be sure to vaccinate between 70% and 95% of the population. With something like measles, which is extremely contagious, you really need close to 100% in order for the herd immunity effect to cut down potential outbreaks. With the coronavirus, maybe 70%, and perhaps we can do 70%.
But then there are people like
we have to be mindful. Even before the vaccine will be available, we have to really. It's our order. Number one is to stay alive. We must absolutely do anything possible and impossible for each individual to insulate yourself, to wash your hands, wear masks, to keep social distancing. Actually, not social. I'd say physical distance.
Yeah,
And you must do that, and of course to increase your immune system to protect yourself. So make sure that your immune system is functioning really well. I mean, this is what every individual can do, regardless what politicians are saying and what are their policies. In each state, there are different policies, as I know. And in Canada, each province has. In Canada, it's a little bit more similar from province to province, but in states there are a lot of differences how each state.
Right. But there's such a basic lack of understanding. For instance, I run into people who say, I don't want a vaccine. I want to go for herd immunity, as if it's some magic thing. But the whole idea of a vaccination is how you achieve herd immunity without deaths, or a tiny amount of deaths or bad cases of the disease, by giving everyone a very slight mild case.
Absolutely.
I believe that everybody should have a choice whether to vaccinate himself or not, because personally I consider that vaccines are very harmful. I mean, okay.
But wait a minute. All the idea of vaccination is to vaccinate everybody, because if you will vaccinate half people and half people will not be vaccinated, so this people who are not vaccinated, they can infect the people who were vaccinated. And also,
they cannot infect them. How if they are? How can?
Well, it's unclear because some people who already had the coronavirus and survived. First of all, nobody survived 100%. They all have all kind of different complications, and they're still fighting them. Even Grandmaster Irina Cruz.
Yes.
She was in our program a while ago, and she was telling us about her experiences, and even now, so many months after that, and she's very healthy. She's a very strong girl. She's doing exercises, and her immune system was pretty good. Even now, she hasn't recovered 100%. That's why. Also, herd mentality, herd immunity problem. I think in Sweden they were trying exactly that, and it failed. It didn't work.
Well, it didn't fail. I mean, I read all these opinions about Sweden, and it just seems like it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. The economic benefit was not as great as it did. The damage to the population was. Well, there were a lot of deaths among older people, but that, we don't know all the circumstances behind that. All these great claims up and down for the Sweden experiment. And I find articles are too extreme either way. There is some with countries in Western Europe, there were reasonable choices. They all made fairly good choices based on their circumstances. I think the only contrast that really need to be studied will be between Europe and America, the United States, and countries in the Americas more generally, and then also what happened in Asia. I have wanted to study this more. I co-write a mathematical computing blog, and the theory behind spread of branching processes is overlaps computer science.
Well,
but I've been kept too busy by the chess pandemic to do a deeper level of research into it.
No, you can, but there are a lot of medical considerations that you have to take into equation, because it's first of all medical problem, not so much computer or a mathematical issue. It's
the previous health of the population, all of that. Yes, it's there's no very simple answer. That's why I'm just saying that I roll my eyes at simple answers that I see circulated on Facebook or on science aggregation sites that I read.
So the borderline, basically, the problem is on the borderline between medicine, science, mathematics, and computer equations. So how come the politicians who are no experts in any of the fields, they are making decisions what's the best for the population?
It depends on how good their chain of information is, and what regard and weight they give it, how well their advisors perform. Often 2 or 3 levels below what you see at the top is where it's really important. So, I do think that some things are highly obvious, including what happened in the United States, especially in the southern and western portion of it. But other things will require more difficult and lengthy analysis.
Yeah, the state is so diverse countries that there is no simple solution for all the states. I think whatever it works in New York may not work in Arizona or California. I mean, it's very, very diverse.
But we should have a uniform leadership. I mean, that's that's where greatness comes in. We had uniform leadership in the past.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. However, at one point, Trump mentioned that he has no power to tell states what to do. The states have to make their own decisions, each state.
Right. But he could set a powerful example. You see, leadership is persuasion. It's not merely the application of law. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, and well, his actions were not the greatest for the last several months, as you know. But listen, that's why there is an election in the United States upcoming, so people can voice their choices. Okay, well, it's very, very interesting. Of course, it's going to become part of our chess show because it's a very important issue. Whether you're a chess player or not, you have to deal with the consequences, especially when there are online tournaments and there are over-the-board tournaments and there are so many political issues in chess politics. So we have to deal with all that, right? So now I want to tell you something very, very interesting. I've discovered on this Kasparov performances feature chess tournament, and there is this other online tournament. Carlson and his friends are playing. I was listening to different broadcast sites, and all of a sudden I found one very, very interesting. It's obscure Russian site. They all talking only in Russian. And the funniest thing is the name of the site is Shach, Mat, and Rock and Roll. It's so bizarre. Shach, Mat, and Rock and Roll. It's so bizarre. And, okay, but I decided to take a look and listen to that. And apparently they have a commentator, a Grandmaster Vladislav Tkachov. Have you ever heard about him?
Wow.
Yes, I like.
Former European champion and hopeless alcoholic at the same time.
He was eliminated from a tournament because he came completely drunk.
Not one.
Was there a reference to him on Facebook?
But he was very strong. The player.
Well, I was very, very pleasantly surprised because last time when I was in Moscow, I think it was in 2012, 8 years ago, we met, there was either a tournament, there was a world championship between Gelfand and Anand. And I was on that match, and Vladislav Tkachov was there. And we started to talk and to discuss different subjects. And then we went for dinner in one of the restaurants in, Maria, maybe you know Arbat in Moscow. There was one of these little places. Yeah. And I offered him if he would like to have a drink. He says, yeah, for sure. How about vodka? Yeah, sure, let's have vodka. Listen, we had so many vodkas and dinner and then more drinks. After that, we hardly could walk. So I took a cab and he brought him to his place and then me to my place where I was staying. I couldn't walk actually, but by the way. And when I saw him there, and I wrote him in chat, and he says, oh, yes, Sasha, I do remember you very well. We had fantastic evening together and so on. And then I started to read his commentaries, and apparently he's preparing a book about Garry Kasparov. And some excerpts of the books he reviewed in many of his programs on this Shachmat and Rock and Roll site. And I was listening. I was really amazed by the depth of his looking into he just reviewed first few years of Kasparov, starting right from the very beginning when he was like 12 years old, and he was already playing a decent game. And when he was 15, he was playing the Grandmasters level, and he started defeating top players. And he illustrated some of his early games. And now looking back, it's more than 40 years ago. I think that he was playing at a very, very high level, starting from about 1978, when he was 15 years old, until the time when he quit chess in 2005. So it's he was not always number one in all that period, of course, but he was playing on a very, very high level. That's
No,
quite
for 20 years he was number one. I believe
Yeah,
from the moment he
absolutely.
beat Karpov and until he retired, he was number one. Of course,
He
he
was.
played not so much during the last years, just 2-3 tournaments a year, but he was used to win them all, I believe. Maybe there was
He won many, many tournaments. But what's interesting enough, he showed, actually, I wouldn't mind even to show one of the games he played. I noticed this game he played against mm, Jan Elvis. He's in the United States now.
No, he's
You know,
back to
Yes,
Estonia.
I played him. I played Jan Elvest on the campus of my university in 2006.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes.
No, he was
Okay.
living in New York for some time, but now
Right.
he's back to Estonia.
Okay.
Oh,
But
he's
okay,
back
I
to
mean-
Estonia now. Oh, I didn't know that. So this is a game, Kasparov Elvis, and it was played in 1978.
Mhm.
I think Elvis was a little bit older, yeah?
Yes, Elvis. No, maybe not so. Maybe 62 he is born on, and Kasparov on 63.
Oh, yeah, so maybe it's just one. So
Very,
Elvis
very
was-
close. Very close.
Hey, can you see the board now?
Yeah,
Can you see the board? Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes.
So Kasparov is white and Elvis black. I'll just show you very quickly the game. It's all serious, you know.
The beautiful invention of Michael Najorf. Someone
Aha, yes. Now I'm not so sure about all these complications. You maybe know theory much better.
Porogaevsky used to play d takes c5 and queen c7. That's the Porogaevsky line.
Right, that's the in Fisher's Memorial Games. Yeah, a memorable.
I think Elvis was drunk. You know, he mixed the lines with his h6. I mean, Mihail is complete right. Take and queen c7. This looks very dangerous.
What about this move?
This reminds
It's
me
a
of
force move, but still.
Yeah.
this reminds me of the famous anecdote with
Olympia.
Holmov, who played
Mhm.
black. It was e4, e5, f4, knight c6, knight f3, b6, f takes e5, and of course he's lost. And then he says something like, "Quite a strange Grunfeld I got."
But there are many different versions of the story. Some says I don't know what White was doing, but he played also bishop p7, and he was really surprised that he couldn't make castle with queen on d8 and rook on a8. This is like what Carlsen received from Grishchuk or something. When Grishchuk castled king e8 to c8 and rook to d8, he was almost checkmated on the d
Oh
line.
my God.
In 10 moves, in just 960.
So far, Kasparov is playing very aggressive and enterprising chess, and looks like White has a big advantage here. Well, you have to protect f7 pawn. Now knight is going to d6, and I don't see.
Yeah, looks terrible. Yeah.
But with these guys, you never know when they wake up. So you should not.
Well, now it's surely a crush. I mean, yeah, this is over.
Yeah, looks quite pathetic.
For you allow black a check.
Well, almost all the moves are forced. Finally, a check, and now resign.
No, I think he woke up too late.
Yeah, but at least he made a point by giving a
No.
last check.
Starting with a certain moment, he really put up some resistance. It looked completely reasonable, but he put up some resistance, B3 and things like that. But it was too late, probably.
Yeah, B4 was also very strange from Kasparov's point of view. B4 was really like, why did he have to sacrifice the pawn on B2? But these guys were kids at that time still.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, but very important thing about Kasparov and his career, I believe he started to play extremely strong between years of 1979, especially, and 1982. 1983, he was already a candidate, as we all know. But the games he played in this period, especially in 1982, I watched him in Graz, for instance, under 26 Olympiad. I mean, Ken played many of them, these World Students Olympiads, which I know, World Students Olympiad, you see always some players who are a little bit more developed. Vaganyan, Romanishin back in time, Guillermo Garcia Gonzalez from Americans also, Nick DeFermian, Fedorovich, and
Fedorovich.
Yeah, Fedorovich was Fedorovich, obviously. He was also present in this 1982.
Ken, you know most of these players, yeah?
I did, absolutely. They're my friends. I mean, I interact with Fedorovich every other day on Facebook.
So I
saw him in person in February. So at the
he claimed that he is off Facebook finally. He always posts some nice.
Well, he
Facebook.
got hacked. That's why he'll be back. So that's what happened. Okay, you noticed that, yes. So,
but 1982,
they all stayed in my house. Yeah,
he really played very, very well. Very well. I mean, Gary came with real pure talent. Then he had this setback in this match with Karpov, and then from 85 and on came with all this preparation and everything. And I am not an opening guy, although I was always an opening expert, But if you see these games from this 81, 82 period, for instance, he single-handedly made, Petrosian system in Queen's India.
Yes.
He also came up with several knight f3 systems with exchange Grunfeld, with CD5. Nobody really played like him. This set.
And you could not stop his d pawn. You somehow could not stop his d pawn from advancing. And
just piercing the pawn with d5, d6, his game with pushable or whatever, really, and I could, I watched him. For instance, he had some real time scramble with Sunia, and it looked to me like really something would happen, and Sunia would save, maybe even win the game. Couple of real exact moves. So this view on Kasparov by others, it's a little bit heartbreaking, like if you take his opening out or his opening preparation out, nothing is left. Well, he had really good technique. He had, training and.
He used to win the shortest possible way in the end.
Exactly. Well, he had. He was himself already after some time, and he had some. I don't know. Everybody succumbs at some moment in his life, just falters. And his match with Kramnik obviously was very aversive for himself, for everyone. And apart from that, I always, like any of us, remember that he was, the best, one of the best, whatever, with Karpov, this is a very productive period. It's slightly after 78, 79, because 78 he played in Russian First League and then Championship. 79, I believe he won Bugoyna.
Yes.
Yeah, which was his first result, and his first rating was 25.90.
Mm-hmm.
I remember very well the Olympiad in Lucerne. I was there, and when he beat Viktor Korchnoi in a fantastic game, he had black pieces, and he played Benoni opening, and it was a great game. And at that point, it was obvious that he will be a contender for the World Championship. That was really.
But I would like to to add something to Suat's comment that somehow Kasparov never played such fantastic games afterwards. I mean, I remember that Botvinnik wrote about Karpov, that Karpov never again played so well as during the candidates matches. I mean, his wins against Polugaevsky, Spassky, and Korchnoi.
But I think the same thing Kasparov is writing in his books, My Great Predecessors. He's writing that Karpov absolutely became a new a player, almost a new player, during his match with Spassky. Because when he won Polugaevsky, obviously Karpov was already stronger than Polugaevsky. But when Karpov was playing Spassky was a heavy favorite to win the match because he played Fischer. He brilliantly won 73 Russian.
Yes, he won 1 point ahead of Karpov. Yes.
Yeah, he
games also.
And Spassky had some very good games in that championship. So he was really heavy favorite to win. And all of a sudden, Karpov elevated his level to such that his score against Spassky was very similar to Fischer's score against Spassky. That's when Karpov started to view it as a prospective contender against Fischer. And finally, when he beat Korchnoi, he became actual contender. The problem is that there was no match, unfortunately. And I think
there is a parallel story, like twin stories about Karpov and Spassky, because during the training camp before Reykjavik, Karpov, as a young player and talented player, was invited to help Spassky somehow.
Yes,
and, first of all, Karpov said, "Okay, I consider myself lazy." But when I saw Spassky, I never thought that somebody could be so lazy. Eventually, they put him together to play a training game. Karpov with white, it was Rai Lopez. He got a completely winning position, but then the game is not published. This is only what Karpov writes. Then he wanted to show that, okay, I'm young, but okay, I'm good too. I wanted to win beautifully. But of course, Spassky was tricky. Okay, Spassky saw tactical things and eventually won. And then he said, "No, I'm in excellent shape. I will not play any games anymore." And then he lost the match with Fischer. And then at the 73 National Soviet Championship, they again play Karpov with Spassky, this time a published game. And again, Karpov almost crushes him. And then Spassky comes up with a peace sacrifice. And suddenly he's even better. Okay, the game ended in a draw. So I think that both times Spassky relaxed prematurely because he said, "Okay, even if I got out of this trouble with this young guy, okay, what will be what can happen to me in the match? I mean, he doesn't know what to do with an extra piece." So, but yes, Karpov was progressing, and Fischer was progressing too in that period.
But there are interesting things with these two people. You know what I mean, being someone who played them both. In some way, Karpov is an excellent gamer. You know, like I played the last series tournament of his together when he was backed up by Ryazantsev, who is really an expert on openings and stuff. And every day I open my door, Ryazantsev, like I used to call him Ryazantsev Express, he's passing with a computer, you know, and the computer's screen is bent over. You know, and I said to Olya, he says yes, he smiles and he goes, you know. And in our game somewhere, he offered the draw. I refused, and he played some king f8, which was completely, you know, I had really cold shower. He had this incredible gaming ability. Meanwhile, I would disagree about the preparation of Spassky. Spassky very well prepared for for the match with Fischer. But Soviets, they made a huge mistake. They kept him in a camp together with Geller, and exuberant amount of time. I don't know how long this camp went.
I believe 3 months. 3 months, I believe.
Something really, really long, 3 months. And now this thing with Karpov. First of all, why do you give the guy, the responsibility to choose whatever he is supposed to do? You give it to somebody like Boris Spassky. He had always his way to crawl into something. He has a very strange logic. Being someone, at least for a brief period, in the Elvest's place in Estonia, to be with him. He's just, he's a very good chess player, but not a logical person at all. So you make him to decide how many games he will play with, Karpov. It's a huge mistake. And if you look at the match, he really made a lot of wrong decisions, even playing the match itself under Fischer's circumstances. It really turned out to be Fischer's, Fischer really dictated certain things in this match.
Terms, yes. Sure.
Some certain terms. I mean, first of all, he played in Reykjavik with him. He played with Petrosyan in Buenos Aires, which is a second home for Fischer. He played with Lars.
No, it's not like this. For instance, Spassky indicated Reykjavik because the weather is similar to Leningrad.
Well, but Spassky indicated not the Soviets. Why do you leave it to Spassky?
And in Buenos Aires, okay, first of all, there is a very strong Armenian community. So actually, it was
everywhere.
Petrosyan who felt at home. No. It is not that one-sided. Actually,
Petrosyan seriously, he was against the idea of playing in Buenos Aires, also with climate and everything. But then Vancouver and Taimanov.
Yeah,
now, what you gonna say? Vancouver and Taimanov. It's.
You might be interested to know that in my work, the games between them at Sveti Stefan 20 years later were more accurate than the games in Reykjavik. But
no, definitely. But there was such a huge pressure in Reykjavik.
Sure.
And Spassky couldn't really hold it, couldn't. I mean, in one of these games in the English opening, he just blundered an exchange.
Right. Yeah.
It was not himself.
I watched that in real time.
I believe that all this blunder thing is not so simple, because he had this Geller who was a very deep opening guy, and in some lines he helped him, but he suggested to play this against the English opening. It's like a Maroczy.
Yeah.
And actually this was very much Geller's style, but it was not Spassky's style. He just put the pieces there. He just knew some game of Geller where Geller sacrificed an exchange with b5, playing Geller, I believe. But Spassky, he put all the pieces there, and there was no counterplay because Fischer played all these nice maneuvers. I mean, Queen back,
G5, yeah.
Yeah. Then back with the pieces, and suddenly he's worse. Spassky is worse. He has no counterplay, and now Fischer will squeeze him. And then he sacrificed an exchange because this is what Geller showed him, and he doesn't understand the position. It's not his position. The mistake was that he played this. No, Spassky needs space. Once he developed, he needs to do something, and b5 was.
He has to play very natural. I mean, now we talk about 1974 match. Spassky, Karpov. Okay, he was playing white side of Caro-Kann in his way. Without h4, h5, putting the bishop on d3. Playing really interesting, but he scored 0 wins.
Yes, he came close in some game. Karpov was in danger, but then he just found some. I mean, everything was under tension. The pawn on b5 was attacked. There was a h6, as I said. The isolated pawn was on d5 already, and then Karpov just played a6 to defend b5. And then h6 follows, g takes h6. He plays very calm moves, and he holds a draw. It's really mathematical. I mean, that's really an incredible.
But this is a real defense. Yeah, this is a critical game. But also, I have to tell you that this guy Bondarevsky, whose past was not very well known to people, from Rostov, and this is the same thing like Polish from Tula. He had really iron hand. Really, I mean, he really shaped Spassky up. He really needed someone like him. And Geller, let's not forget, with Geller and his society, Petrosyan, Geller, Suetin, and his way of life and his way of thinking, it didn't really fit. And Geller could be very beneficial. I mean, Geller was for a very long time Greek's trainer together with Minev, or succeeding Minev. He was really good. I played with him when he was the Greek team trainer. Just after the game, he wanted to analyze. I just couldn't stand him, really. It's just we had a really interesting game, but he says, like, what do you do if I play this? I said, I don't know. I mean, you show yourself. If you see the line, I see this, I didn't see that, It's really certain people and chemistry in these matches. The teams are very important. For instance, this guy Zaitsev and Podgaev, these guys, they were really good for Karpov.
Yeah.
But Spassky, his seconds, always after Bondarevsky, there was some, wrong paces.
Yes, but okay, the problem was that, Bondarevsky had his merits. First of all, he put him to work, and he shaped him, as you said. Yeah, okay, but then something very bad happened to Spassky. He became a world champion. He thought he's the most clever person in the world. He started explaining to his second wife how to cook. And he could not stand when Bondarevsky called him an idiot, because he used to do that quite
But he was right. Bondarevsky was right.
So then it's not very clear, because actually they had some quarrel before the match, before they started preparing. And almost simultaneously, they went to the sports. I believe Bondarevsky was first, who went to the sports committee and said he cannot work with this idiot anymore. And then
he doesn't want to take responsibility for the result of the match. That's what he said. He didn't want
What did he say?
Bondarevsky went to sport committee and said that he doesn't want to share responsibility for the upcoming match with FIFA.
Okay.
And then Geller and Spassky arrived, and I said, no, it's not true. We fire him. He's not him that he resigns. We fire him.
Yeah, that's right.
So, no, of course, Geller. What can I say? You cannot. It's not easy to find a deeper player than Geller. Okay, we have Korchnoi, we have Polgaevsky, we have some very deep players. None of them became a world champion.
I don't know if Korchnoi is so deep. He's very unpredictable. But I like the sports committee incidents, because I spoke with Tukmakov, and he was always close to Korchnoi, and he was always who he was. And then he really tried to convince him not to talk in front of sports committee bad about Petrosyan, when Petrosyan sued him there. Just 1 minute of talk. Korchnoi was reliable, according to their preparation. Then he unloaded everything on Petrosyan, and he was punished for some time. Sports committee was very serious. Those people, I really want to see the faces and stuff. And somehow, I don't know, Spassky didn't fit there, and Bondarevsky, okay, he's a Cossack. Yes, I mean, real. Actually, his grandmother is a Turk. Oh. Very strangely, yeah. That's somehow from the region, I don't know, but I really don't know. Years later, Spassky always spoke very bad about him, very positive about Polish, who was really for everyone a hero.
Yeah. But since we are talking about so much about the semi-final match between Karpov and Spassky, at the same time in Odessa, where I used to live at that time, was another semi-final between Petrosyan and Korchnoi, and I was present at that game. It's a famous game when they already hated each other at that time, and the Petrosyan, he was very nervous, and he was like trembling all the time. And Korchnoi made him, once he asked him, please stop doing that. And then second time, And then Petrosian complained to arbiter that Korchnoi is disturbing him on purpose. So Korchnoi says, okay, I'm not going to say anything. So when he started to do that again, he hit him under the table in his leg. And it was really, really very strong hit. And Petrosian was he was astonished and say, "What are you doing? You hit me." And Korchnoi said, "You're using your last chance." And Petrosian became so upset about it, and he said that, "Stop talking to me. We are not in the bazaar."
But you know,
I heard it from Gufeld myself in one of the games.
but
And after that, Petrosian went to a hospital for a few days. He lost the game. He went to a hospital and never resumed the match. And he resigned the match.
So actually, he went back to Moscow and he went to sports committee, but they didn't accept his appeal this time. But they had to cut, whatever was covering below the table, and the legs should be apparent to the public and the arbiter, because the kick was really there. Really, Viktor Lvovich has kicked them. But look, there are some very interesting things in between these people. I mean, let's not forget Bella, the wife of Korchnoi.
Yeah.
She was Armenian. And Rona Yakovleva, the wife of Petrosian, she was Jewish. And some Korchnoi really, really hated Bella. You know, very famous story. Korchnoi makes a color TV as the first prize, and Bella almost throws it from the window and says, like, "Why you didn't pick up the money? You know, go back and pick up the money." Everybody knew that. Alexei Armoninsky should speak more about these people's relationship more than I do, because some of them, basically from him, some of them I heard from Tukmakov and Dmitry Gurevich. You know, they had really very funny stories. But at the end of the day, Bella gives him 1 ruble back in time. So he had to come from, I don't know, Lake Ladoga, wherever they were living, and to Nevsky Prospect, make some training, visit some people, eat and drink. We did something, and he had to go back. He really ran away from former Soviet Union just to run away from his wife.
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Yeah.
But then he used her as a political weapon in Baguio.
Exactly, but he didn't meet her. Neither the son Igor. They were supposed to, he was supposed to come to the airport to pick them up. He never met them even. Later, he made it with Igor, who is a computer programmer and quite nice guy, actually. And he just he used them. I mean, Korchnoi was like Alekin to some extent. He could use things.
Well, before we finish, I would like to remind you a very famous Spassky's interview after he defeated Korchnoi in 1968 in Kiev. He was asked what is the main reason that he beat Korchnoi, and Spassky replied that, well, look, during the match, his wife Bella accompanied him during the whole match, and I had 2 beautiful blondes. That's how I won the match.
But it's not always like this, There was this candidates match, Tal Larsen. And Larsen started. It was a very difficult match for Tal, and actually Larsen was leading after 5 or 6 games, and Tal writes, the problem is that Larsen's wife can have a very big influence over him, positive, but she had to leave after that game, and then Larsen immediately lost, and then he also lost the last game, and
Tal defeated him.
That okay, it may be a coincidence, but right after Larsen's wife left, Larsen lost, and I know that he took her with him as a second. She was a weak player, I believe, but yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Can I divert by saying how remarkable it is that Levan Aronian feels able to play so soon? I mean, that takes real courage.
No, but he did a lot of things so soon. I mean,
Including the new girlfriend.
There is a new girlfriend. Just
I know he has a new girlfriend. I know that.
so this is more remarkable than playing well. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Well, listen, we have a lot of things to discuss, and hopefully next Saturday we'll have much more time. And I would like to show you something which I didn't have time to do today. Remember Fischer, he played the Sicilian opening with white. He played e4, for example, c5, knight f3, d6. He played d3. And one of the famous games against Magner Turen in interzonal tournament. He played with white, and he won well-known game. We'll take a look at it. But what's interesting is that Kasparov, when he was 12 years old, he played that opening too. And I found a couple of games. We'll discuss it next Saturday. And now I'd like to say thank you so much for participating.
You too.
Making the program so beautiful. Thank you so much, everybody, to all our listeners, and we'll see you again next Saturday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.